I'm visiting Maurice Strong in his home in Beijing, China. Maurice, you got in touch with ICLEI right after it was founded in the early 90s.
Yes, I was very much involved at the time of the creation, even before the creation, with the idea. It was not my idea, but I support the idea. And so I have been following ICLEI right from even before it was born. Well, first of all, I thought the idea was extremely important because so much of the environmental action is rooted in the cities of the world. And yet they did not have their own organization for cooperating, for exchanging experience, for exchanging information, for coordinating, and for each one to have the benefit of the experience of the others. So I felt that ICLEI met a very important need, and the growth and expansion of ICLEI since then has demonstrated that it was a good decision at a good time.
Why did you think cities and local governments would have to get involved when Agenda 21 was something to be adopted by national governments to save the planet and to look at the entire globe?
Because you cannot deal with the global issues only by decisions at the global level. The real action is at the local level. That is where the most decisions are made which affect the environment and the future of life. So you cannot just take the decisions at the level of the central governments. Of course, they set the policies, they also establish the incentives, and they have to be there, but there has to be an interaction between the local authorities and the global, I should say the national authorities at the global level. There is a system from the global to the national to the local, and the local is at the foundation of that system. So I was absolutely convinced that we could not have a successful global initiative without the participation and the support of the local authorities. And that's why I felt that ICLEI was such an important method of doing that. And I am very, very impressed by how ICLEI has progressed to meet that need.
You have observed ICLEI's development over the last 18 years. Is there anything you would like to say to hundreds of local government leaders gathered in Incheon, Korea to celebrate our 20th anniversary?
Well, the first thing I say is I wish I were there in person, but at least I am happy to have this opportunity of greeting them and congratulating them and making the point that the future of civilization is very much in the hands of those who make the local decisions which determine the direction of our society. And so this is a very important meeting. I would say in many ways even more important than a global meeting. But there has to be relationship between what is decided at the local level and what is happening at the global level. Because at the global level is really just a collection of what is happening at the local level. So the real leaders are there at your meeting, the meeting that I am now having the privilege to address. This is, and my belief is very strong, is that there must be, the local leaders must have more say in the global, at the global level. There is not a good enough mechanism for the local leaders where the decisions are really made to have their influence on the national level and the global level. So I think ICLEI's big challenge is to continue to progress as the instrument through which local authorities have their national and global influence. And the decisions that are made are not just made by the global and national leaders, but they are made at your level in cooperation with the national and the local leadership. You are the base of the leadership. the foundations of the leadership are at the level of the local authorities. They cannot do it alone, of course, but the national and global leaders cannot implement or even take these decisions effectively without the involvement of the authorities at the local level. So I really think that I'm proud of the progress that ICLEI has made, but I'm saying that the world needs ICLEI even more now than when it was created. But now you have experience, you have offices, you have constituencies around the world. So ICLEI is in a much stronger position now, also, to take on these expanded responsibilities.
Would you want to give ICLEI any specific advice for its future course?
Well, I think the people who I am talking to will know even more than I. I have a deep interest. I cannot say that I am the best expert, but I can say that everything I know, everything I believe, is pointed at the need to strengthen the network that ICLEI has created around the world, strengthen its ability to serve the local needs and to take the good decisions at the local level, but also strengthen in the influence it has at the national level and through that the global level. In other words, ICLEI should now see itself as at the foundations of a global system, not just a local system, but the base for a global system where your responsibility is to ensure that your voice and your influence contributes to the decisions that are taken at the other levels, the national, the regional, of course, regional, national and global levels. So you are the key to the system, and ICLEI must realize that it must function now on an even broader scale than it has in the past. But the progress that ICLEI has made is good preparation for that larger role.
So the preparations for the Rio Plus 20 Earth Summit have started. When you look back at the state of the world 20 years ago and today, which are the areas where you would say we have really made progress and we have addressed the challenges? And which areas are you still most concerned about?
Well, there has been progress in certain areas. The main progress is in understanding our problems and in public awareness of the problems. Where the difficulties are is that even with greater awareness, there has not been enough action. Lots of words, lots of resolutions, governments take decisions, but their implementation is still very questionable. So despite the fact that there is more knowledge, there is more awareness, the condition of the environment at the local and global levels in so many cases now is actually worse than it was in Rio 20 years, well, 18 years ago, which soon will be 20 years. Yes, there has been progress. At the same time, the problem is even greater now than it was at that time. And I am very hopeful that Rio Plus 20 will give new momentum to the movement, give new momentum not only just to resolutions and promises, because governments, unfortunately, national governments have too often taken decisions which they do not live up to. Of course, it varies, some do more than others, but so we cannot afford to go on that way. Big decisions, big publicity, big conferences, and then not sufficient follow-up action. ICLEI, operating at your level, which is at the base of the system, can and should and is already showing how to take the lead in this. So I would say that I hope that Rio Plus 20 will reinforce recognition of ICLEI's role and reinforce also the actual influence that ICLEI and its members have on the global, national and global processes.
So, and finally, we have created a Young Municipal Leaders Initiative. Is there a message you would like to give, or recommendation, advice you would like to give to young municipal leaders?
Well, one thing that is, you know, it used to be that many people in local government were amateurs. Maybe good amateurs, but amateurs. Now there is more and more professionalism required, because running urban areas is really a systemic process. It has so many elements in it. There is a relationship with the territory around the city. There's a relationship with between energy use, between transport, between technology. There's a whole new set of systems. You cannot look at local government as simply a place. It is a complex system. And the people who lead in that, the young people should prepare themselves to understand the systemic relationships between all the different elements that shape the future of their cities. And so I think that one of the things that ICLEI, I know does, but could, is to really offer more opportunities for young leaders to become educated more in the systemic method of understanding and managing their cities. You already do some of that, but I would say that is expanding your training programs, expanding your programs of exchange of experience, helping to ensure that the new generation of young urban leaders will have the kind of understanding and knowledge that permits them to take the decisions that will determine the future not only of their cities, but the future of their nation and the future of the whole world.
Thank you, Maurice, for your time and for what you have told us, the local government community, which is very encouraging, but also putting some challenge on us to do better and to do more.